Hey guys, tonight we slip into the fur and paws of something cunning, quick, and just a little too curious for its own good. You open your eyes, and the world is wrong, but not in a nightmare sort of way. It's earthy, damp. The smell of moss fills your nose, and something soft brushes your cheek. It takes a moment before you realize it's your tail. Yep, you have a tail now. A big, fluffy, ridiculously luxurious one that flicks in annoyance as you try to sit up. But you're not sitting up. You're crouching. Everything feels compact, tight, low to the ground. You shuffle to the edge of your den and peek out. Twilight paints the forest floor in muted purples and dusty golds. The air hums with distant crickets and the occasional crack of a twig. You blink, then blink again. Vision sharper than you've ever known. Every leaf, every shadow moves with intention. You're not just in the woods, you belong here. Sort of. Not quite. You're still figuring that part out. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And, hey, tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. I love knowing where in the world you're dreaming from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stretch, no, slink, out of the den, brushing past roots and damp soil. You step into the open, and the breeze brings 100 new scents all at once. The forest isn't just alive. It's a party of silent conversations, whispered in fur and bark and dew. You're a fox now. Congratulations. You probably won't survive this, but hey, at least your coat is stunning. Your body knows what to do, even if your mind's still trying to load. You move with a fluid rhythm, ears twitching, nose to the wind. You're not hunting yet, but your body is cataloging everything. A mouse 3 trees over, a hawk circling too high to matter for now, and the smell of mushrooms, wet bark, and something else. Something older. Historically speaking, foxes have had a complicated PR campaign. In medieval Europe, they symbolized cunning and trickery. Reynard the fox, anyone? But in ancient Chinese folklore, they could shapeshift into beautiful women and outwit men entirely. Honestly, goals. You dart forward, tail flicking, claws barely scratching the surface of the leaf-strewn floor. You are not being chased, and yet there's an urgency in your stride. Like your body knows a predator is never too far behind. That might just be evolution whispering in your ear, or it might be the rustle that's been shadowing you, exactly 7 paces behind ever since you left the den. No need to panic, yet. You pause beside a fallen log and sniff. It's soaked in lichen and secrets. A small beetle scurries across it. You consider eating it for the protein, but decide you're not that desperate. Yet. In the distance, a low rustle. You freeze. The forest freezes with you. Even the wind holds its breath. Then, nothing. Just your imagination. Probably, a scholarly debate exists about whether foxes truly form monogamous pairs, or if that's just the sort of romantic nonsense humans project onto wildlife. Some studies say yes, others say it depends on territory, food supply, and how attractive the neighbor fox is. Nature's complicated like that. Back to the present. Your ears swivel. A noise. Small, nervous, definitely prey. Your stomach growls. You forgot about hunger until it stabbed you in the ribs like a passive-aggressive roommate. You lower your body, nose low, weight balanced, and you wait. Whatever it is, it's inching closer. Closer. And then it bolts. You lunge. Your wind, muscle, and hunger rolled into one blur of fur. The mouse, because of course it's a mouse, is fast, but not fast enough. You pounce, tail outstretched for balance, and land with a thud. Success. You pause a moment, not just to catch your breath, but because something about this feels monumental. Your first kill, sort of. It's awkward, humbling, and probably would have been more elegant if someone hadn't screamed "go" in your brain like a race starter. You eat. It's not glamorous. There's no seasoning, no Instagram-worthy plating. Just a reminder that being a fox isn't about beauty shots. It's about survival, instinct, and knowing when to stay very, very still. A fringe belief in some Celtic folklore held that foxes could travel between worlds, that when they disappeared into the trees, they were actually slipping into another realm. Standing here, muzzle damp and paws tingling with adrenaline, you start to wonder if that wasn't so far off. Behind you, something snaps. Loud. Deliberate. You're not alone. And whoever's watching knows exactly what you are. You spin around so fast you nearly trip over your own tail. Whatever snapped that branch is gone, or hiding too well for even your predator eyes to see. The forest, once filled with distant insect lullabies, has gone hushed again. The silence hums. That same strange presence from earlier presses against your fur like a rising wind. You back up slowly, head low, body tense. A smart fox doesn't rush into mystery. A smart fox pretends it never noticed and slinks casually into the underbrush. So you do just that. Casual, chill, totally not internally screaming. You thread through brambles and low-hanging ferns, paws whispering across the soil, nose twitching for signs of the unseen watcher. The forest here feels older, like it remembers more than it says. Moss drapes from branches like tattered curtains, and every stone feels placed on purpose. You half expect a squirrel to start quoting Shakespeare, but the further you go, the quieter it becomes. Not silent, just focused, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. You crouch behind a log, still and waiting. It's then that you notice something weird about your reflection in a shallow puddle nearby. Your eyes. There's something in them. Not just the sharp amber of a fox. There's memory. Yours. Whoever you were before this, transformation. You don't remember how you got here. Not fully. But flashes come. A warm bed. Fingers. A name you can't quite grab. And then, waking up in fur. A breeze stirs the leaves. You catch the scent again. Musk. Animal. Predator. Too big to be a fox. Definitely not deer. You're not on top of the food chain here, just under it. You move again, staying low. The ground is familiar now, mapped by instinct. And soon, your belly growling a bit less violently, you find yourself following a trail marked by tiny claw prints, another fox. maybe more. You're not sure if that comforts or concerns you. Historically, foxes have occupied a tricky spot in predator hierarchies. In ancient Egypt, the desert fox was considered sacred, believed to be a guide through the underworld. Not a bad resume, if a little spooky. You cross a fallen tree, tail flicking for balance. Beneath it, something glints, a broken piece of old metal. You nudge it with your snout. Rusted, man-made, possibly centuries old. A dagger tip? A spoon? You honestly have no idea. All you know is that it shouldn't be here, not this deep in the wild. You don't know why, but it sends a chill through you. A quick rustle behind you makes you whip around, and this time you catch a glimpse. Eyes, yellow, intelligent, and gone in a blink. Too big to be a rabbit. Too fluid to be a bear. You don't get a good look at the shape, but it moves like it doesn't care if you saw it. In fact, it wanted you to. Great. Stalked by something with self-esteem issues. You double your pace, zigzagging through familiar scents. Wet bark, distant fire smoke, something like rotting fruit. And then suddenly, you burst through a curtain of vines and land in a clearing. It's beautiful. A stream cuts across the mossy floor, its water so clear it seems unreal. A tree, massive, gnarled, ancient, rises in the center. Its trunk splits into 7 twisted limbs, each bearing leaves of different colors. You stare, forgetting to breathe. This isn't just any forest. This is that kind of forest, the kind that ends up in legends and poorly translated scrolls. You approach the tree cautiously. The bark pulses faintly. There's something inside it. Life, memory, maybe something more. Historians still argue whether certain pre-modern cultures believed its trees were conscious or merely symbolic. Some Norse texts hint at literal sentience, while others treat trees more like metaphorical family albums. Whatever the truth is, this one feels awake, like it could sigh if you listened close enough. You place a paw on the root. A sudden snap behind you. You leap instinctively, teeth bared, only to come face to face with a lynx. It blinks at you, unimpressed. Regal, with tufts like exclamation points above each ear. The lynx sits back on its haunches, licking a paw in a gesture so profoundly unbothered it almost offends you. "Well, look what the wind coughed up," it says, voice sharp and female, like a wine glass with opinions. Another lost fox with no clue how this place works. You stare. "Yes, I'm talking." She sighs. "No, it's not normal." "Yes, you're special. Blah, blah, blah. Let's skip the gasping, shall we?" You open your mouth, but nothing comes out. The lynx twitches an ear. Speechless, typical. You lot are all dramatics and fluff. She stretches luxuriously, claws extending with a scratch against a nearby stone. You're not from here. That much is obvious. You stink of human confusion and poorly managed anxiety. But you're also not entirely not from here. You're what the elders would call a walker between. You finally manage a sound. Something like, "What?" She grins. It's not comforting. Welcome to the in-between, Fox. You'll either learn fast or die confused. Comforting. You glance back at the strange tree, then to the shadows beyond, where the yellow eyes once watched. You have questions, so many, but somehow you know the answers will be weirder than you're ready for. The lynx turns. "Well, come on then," she calls over her shoulder. "Let's find out how doomed you really are." You follow. Because what else can you do? You trail after the lynx, trying to keep up while also not looking too desperate. The underbrush snaps softly under your paws, while she glides ahead like a breeze that's read too many poetry books. She doesn't wait for you, but she also doesn't disappear, which you guess is her version of being polite. The forest changes as you move. The trees grow taller, older. The air thickens, not with mist, but with something less visible, more felt, like being watched by the forest itself. You finally speak, though your voice feels strange in this body. "What was that thing watching me earlier?" The lynx flicks her tail, amused. "You'll need to be more specific. Everyone watches everyone out here. It's called not dying." "Yellow eyes," you say. "Too big to be a fox." She slows slightly. "Ah, that. You don't want to meet that up close," she says. "Not unless you like being turned into a proverb." Great. More riddles. You break through a thick patch of ferns and stumble into a narrow clearing. Ahead stands an old tree stump carved with symbols you don't recognize. Around it are bones, small, scattered, and not fresh. A shrine, a warning, a snack gone cold? The lynx doesn't pause. "Ignore that. The crows made it. Drama queens, the lot of them." She leaps effortlessly over a log, and you scramble awkwardly after her, tail snagging briefly on a thorn. Graceful you are not. Historically, lynxes were viewed as mystical creatures in many ancient cultures. The Greeks believed the lynx could see through solid objects, truth detectors of the forest essentially. Not that your companion is offering any profound clarity just yet. You catch up just as she stops beneath a huge boulder, moss-covered and cracked through the center like a lightning bolt hissed it centuries ago. She turns to you. "So, new fox, what do you remember?" You pause. The honest answer? Not much. Your human life feels like a dream behind a fogged window. You remember a lamp, a book, falling asleep mid-sentence, then warmth, then the forest. "Not enough," you say. She nods. "Good. Remembering too much, too fast, melts your brain, and I don't have the patience to babysit a puddle." She sits beside the boulder and begins cleaning her paws. You wonder if she's just winging this whole mentor lynx thing. "What is this place?" you ask. She shrugs. "Depends who you ask. Some call it the seam. Others call it the wound. I prefer the in-between." "And I'm here because you fell through," she replies as if that explains everything. Or maybe because something pushed you. Historians still argue whether these shifts are random or chosen. Either way, you're here now. Deal with it. The wind picks up. It's subtle at first, then suddenly filled with whispers, actual whispers. Not words, just the shape of language, barely there. You shiver. "Is that normal?" you ask. "Define normal," the lynx says, not looking up. You peer through the trees and spot movement again. But it's not the yellow eyes this time. This time it's a bird, a raven, massive and glossy, watching from a low branch. It hops, caws once, then flies off in the direction you're heading. The lynx watches it go. Ugh, that's not a good sign. What does that mean? She stands. It means we're going to the archive. You blink. The what now? You want answers, she says, starting off again. They're not free, but if you're lucky, you might get a whisper of one. Come on. You follow. After a while, you start to notice that the trees are growing unnaturally symmetrical. Perfect gaps between trunks. No undergrowth. It's like nature was suddenly given a blueprint and told to behave. Then you see it. At the edge of a grove, nestled beneath a crumbling hill, is a door. A literal, wooden, iron-bound door, wedged into a mound of earth and roots. There's no building, no structure. Just the door and the air around it, humming like a plucked string. The lynx walks straight up to it and knocks. Once, then twice in a rhythm you wouldn't remember if your life depended on it. The door swings open. Inside, it's not what you expected. Stone walls curve into a low dome, lined with bookshelves built from bones and bark. Scrolls hang from vines. Glowing mushrooms provide soft, bluish light. The air smells like damp history and cedar smoke. A badger in tiny spectacles scowls at you from behind a mossy desk. He's early, he mutters. Blame the fox, the lynx says. You blink. Wait, you knew I was coming? Oh yes, the badger says. Fate likes to schedule things in advance. Very punctual, that one. You step inside and something shifts. Like the whole room exhales. Or maybe you do. Welcome to the archive, the badger says, where forgotten things come to wait. And somehow, you understand. You're not just here to survive. You're here to remember. The door closes behind you with a deep, final thump, and it sounds exactly like what it is. A one-way entrance to something you can't easily walk back from. You glance around the archive, your fox eyes adjusting quickly to the dim light. The space seems small at first, then reveals corners that bend deeper into the earth, lined with uneven shelves holding scrolls, bark tablets, bits of bone carved with writing, and even a perfectly preserved butterfly wing trapped in amber. The badger waddles down a spiral ramp, muttering about disorganized prophecies and misfiled destinies. The lynx slinks after him, tail flicking with mild disdain. You hesitate, because this smells like answers, and nothing ever gives you answers for free. Still, you follow, because curiosity is a fox's birthright, and whatever you're becoming now, it's more curious than afraid. The ramp spirals downward into an underground chamber where the air grows cooler, denser, tinged with a faint herbal scent. On the far wall, carved into living rock, is a mural, faded and sprawling. It shows animals, a bear, a raven, a serpent, a fox, and beneath each, something half human, half something else. What is this? You whisper. Stories, the badger replies without turning. Ones the world forgot. Some say erased. He reaches a low platform and pulls out a roll of parchment with a practiced paw. His claws are surprisingly delicate, like a calligrapher's. You're a fox, he says flatly, as if you hadn't noticed. But not a simple one. You're a walker, between worlds, between skins, between truths. Rare these days. Rarer still that one falls through without warning. You frown. Why did I fall through? Historians still argue whether walkers choose their crossings or are chosen by them, the badger mutters. Sometimes it's trauma, sometimes fate, sometimes bad soup. No one agrees. You blink. Bad soup? The lynx chuckles behind you. He's not joking. There was an incident once with mushroom stew and an eclipse. Very messy. The badger glares at her before tapping the scroll. You're not the first. You won't be the last. But your timing is inconvenient. Inconvenient how? Because something has awakened. Something that remembers old walkers and didn't enjoy their company. You think back to those yellow eyes, the way the forest held its breath, the hush after the howl. Do you know what it is? The badger sighs. No, but I know where it will go next. He points to a section of the scroll, a map, kind of. Except instead of roads, it's traced with veins of silver ink, pulsing faintly. Symbols mark strange places. The river that isn't, the hollow oak, and something just labeled silence. You'll need to find the hollow oak, the badger says. The council meets there. They'll know if the forest's memory is slipping again. The council? You ask. More animals? More than animals, the lynx says softly. Old ones, keepers of the balance. Foxes used to have a seat long ago. What happened? The badger raises an eyebrow. They stopped showing up. Right. Sounds about right. You nod slowly. Okay, so I find the hollow oak. The badger produces a leaf. Yes, a leaf with a pattern etched into it. This will show you the path, but only when the wind is right. You hesitate, then take it delicately in your jaws. It tastes like mint and something vaguely electric. You'll need to hurry, the badger says. Whatever's stalking you, it's not just watching, it's waiting. A scholarly footnote. In medieval bestiaries, foxes were often depicted pretending to be dead to lure birds close before leaping up to snatch them. An early, and very morbid, example of faking it until you make it. You head back up the spiral ramp, the lynx walking beside you in thoughtful silence. She doesn't mock or tease you now. Not while the air is heavy with coming storms. As you near the surface, she finally speaks. You'll be alone from here. You stop. What? Why? Because I can't follow you to the hollow oak. That place doesn't like cats. You stare at her. I bit one of the elders once. Long story. Of course. She looks at you a long moment. You're not ready, but you probably won't be, so go anyway. Thanks for the pep talk, you mutter. She smiles. It's the best kind. Honest. You step back out into the forest, leaf tucked gently in your mouth, and pause at the edge of the clearing. The light has shifted. The sun's dipping low now. Shadows stretch long like fingers reaching for memory. You turn to say something else, but the lynx is already gone. Not a sound, not a scent. Just you now. You step forward, leaf quivering in your jaw. The path glimmers faintly. lit not by sun or moon, but by something deeper, older. And in the distance, far beyond sight, the hollow oak waits. The path is barely visible, more suggestion than trail. But the leaf in your jaw pulses faintly with warmth, like a heartbeat guiding you through the undergrowth. You walk in silence for a while, save for the occasional crackle of twigs beneath your paws and the low, rhythmic thrum of your breath. The forest has shifted again, subtly but unmistakably, less like a wild, sprawling tangle and more like a memory carefully folded away in someone's drawer. Each step feels intentional now, like you're being watched, but also somehow accompanied. Not by anything you can see, but by the weight of things that were. You follow the faint shimmer of the path, and soon the trees begin to lean in. Not ominously, more like old friends sharing secrets. Their branches stretch over the trail, forming archways tangled with moss and sleepy lichen. The air smells like pine, and secrets kept too long. As you pad forward, something catches your attention just ahead. A break in the foliage, a soft glow. You move closer and find the overgrown ruins of a stone walkway, barely visible beneath the moss and leaf litter. It leads to a clearing with an odd centerpiece, a stone pedestal surrounded by mushrooms arranged in a near-perfect spiral. You step closer. The mushrooms hum. Yes, hum. Not with sound exactly, but with vibration. Faint and musical, like someone strumming a harp beneath your skin. The leaf pulses in your jaw again. You've found the ancient path. You pause at the pedestal, pawing gently at the base. Carvings cover it. Foxes in mid-leap, stars spiraling outward, and an owl clutching a scroll in its talons. One particular inscription catches your eye. A fox curled in a circle, its tail covering one eye. Beneath it, only the sleeping remember, whatever that means. According to a fringe theory from a 14th century mystic, certain forest clearings were believed to exist in multiple timelines at once. People would walk into them and wake hours or centuries later, aged or changed or convinced they were someone else. Historians still argue whether these tales were metaphorical, fungal, or just very poor cartography. You circle the mushrooms carefully. Their spiral seems to shimmer under your gaze, and when you blink too long, it almost feels like you're walking in a dream. And then, snap. Not a branch this time. Something steps into the clearing behind you. You whirl around, ready to bolt, but freeze. It's not a predator. It's a badger, but not the cranky librarian kind. This one wears a tiny satchel, round glasses perched on its nose. It stares at you with bright eyes full of cautious recognition. "You're early," it says in a dusty voice. "That's what everyone keeps saying," you mutter. The badger snorts. "Time's slippery on the ancient path. You step wrong, you'll be having tea with your great-grandkids before you're even born." I'll try to walk straight. He studies you, then nods. Name's Bram. Historian. Retired. "Didn't know animals retired," you say. "Doesn't mean we stop remembering," he replies. You follow him without asking. Fox or not, this place has its own rules, and Bram seems to know most of them. He leads you past the mushroom circle and down what used to be an old trade route, back when the forest traded in spices, stories, and moonlight. At least, that's what Bram claims. You suspect he's only half joking. As you walk, he tells you how the ancient path once connected dens and groves across kingdoms. Messengers used it. So did those looking to disappear. Lost love, broken oaths, dreams too heavy to carry, he says with a sigh. They all ended up here sooner or later. You glance at the shimmering trail underfoot. And what about walkers like me? Bram stops. You're different. Walkers come through when the fabric frays, like moths finding the loose stitch. You make it sound like I'm an accident. You're a symptom, he replies gently, but maybe also the cure. He gestures to the left. Shortcut. That way. You nod, about to head off, but something rustles the leaves behind you. Again. Not Bram. Not another wanderer. You both turn. The forest is still. Too still. Bram's ears twitch. It's here. The thing with the yellow eyes. He doesn't answer. He just moves. Quickly. You follow without hesitation. Branches whip your face and you hear it. Something behind you, massive, silent. Not running, not chasing, just gliding, like shadow-wearing bones. Don't look at it, Bram warns. It sees through looking. You try not to ask what that means. You just run. You cross a narrow ridge of stones, leap over a mossy log, and suddenly you're in a clearing. No, not just a clearing. A grove, perfectly circular, quiet, peaceful. And at its center, an enormous hollow oak. It rises like a cathedral, its trunk wide enough to fit a cottage inside. Its bark bears centuries of carvings. Foxes, serpents, moons, stars, and names. So many names. Some carved with reverence, others clawed in desperation. You step forward, breath caught somewhere between your chest and the sky. Bram bows low. The hollow oak. The moment you cross the grove's edge, the noise behind you, whatever was following, vanishes. Not fades, just ends. Like it can't enter. A warded place. Sacred. Or smart enough to post "No monsters allowed" signs in bark. You exhale slowly. You've made it. But you're not alone. Not anymore. The hollow oak hums with something ancient. Older than words. Older than bones. As you pad across the clearing's mossy floor, you can almost feel it breathing. Not with lungs, but with time. The bark itself is dark and textured like wrinkled hands folded in prayer. Vines curl lazily up its sides, as if even the plants respect its age. This isn't just a tree. It's a monument, a memory, a living archive of the forest. And around its base, they're waiting. Animals. All of them different. All of them watching you. A stag with velvet antlers, his eyes deep and unblinking. A turtle the size of a wheelbarrow. Moss growing on her shell like an old roof. A pair of foxes, elderly, silent, with eyes that mirror your own. A hare standing upright, paws tucked in his robe, staring like he's known you for years. They sit in a loose circle beneath the oak, surrounding something like a stone table, its surface inscribed with faint swirling patterns. You realize, belatedly, this is the council, You swallow, hard, no pressure. Bram gestures for you to step forward, then retreats to the outer edge of the grove. The moment you do, the space responds. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a change in the wind, a subtle shift in the light. Even the bugs stop buzzing. The stag speaks first. His voice is a slow bell toll. You are the walker. You nod, trying not to trip over your own tail. The turtle blinks slowly. You are early. Yeah, I get that a lot, you mutter. We felt the breach, says the hare. Something crossed? I saw it, you say. Yellow eyes, big, too fast for anything normal. The foxes glance at each other, then back to you. One finally speaks, her voice light, but edged like a thorn. You saw it, and it saw you. Is that bad? Only if you enjoy nightmares. A pause. You glance at the oak again. Something pulses in its bark, like light beneath the surface, a heartbeat you can't quite hear but feel in your paws. We've seen walkers before, the stag continues, but none in recent years. Your kind fell silent. We thought the world had forgotten how to cross. I didn't do it on purpose, you admit. I just woke up. A scholarly note. In early Slavic folklore, there were tales of Nav, souls caught between worlds after dreaming too close to sacred trees. Historians still argue whether these stories warned against certain groves or invited seekers to step through. Unintentional or not, the hare says, you're here, and the hollow remembers. You tilt your head. The hollow remembers? The turtle sighs. This tree, it is memory of the forest, of us, of you. You step closer, drawn without meaning to. The carvings on its trunk shimmer subtly as you approach, and suddenly one of them changes. It reshapes itself into a fox, curled tight, tail around its body. But now the tail is flicking. That wasn't doing that a second ago. The turtle tilts her head. You are still forming. The stag adds, and that makes you vulnerable. To what? You ask. The wind stirs. To forgetting who you are, the hare whispers. The foxes nod in eerie unison. The thing with yellow eyes thrives on forgetting. It eats what slips through. Walkers who lose their shape. Stories that no longer tell themselves. You shiver. And what do I do? The elder fox, the one naive, who hasn't spoken yet, finally raises his head. You journey. Where? He points with his nose, not to a trail, not to a landmark, but to your heart. There, he says, to memory. Great. Cryptic advice from woodland philosophers. Classic forest move. Still, you understand more than you want to admit. There's something inside you that's blurred, unfinished. Your dreams flicker with glimpses of your former life. A lamp, a cat, a book with your me on the inside cover. But it's not enough. Not yet. You'll follow the mapless road, the turtle says. It leads to the river that isn't. Sounds relaxing. It won't be, the hare says cheerfully. The stag dips his head. Many fail, but some return, and when they do, they change us. You pause. Change you? He nods. Memory is shared. You don't just remember for yourself, You remember for all of us. Suddenly, you feel very small, but also very needed. One of the foxes steps forward now. She gently touches her nose to yours. You freeze. "This is your shape," she says softly. "Hold it, even when the dark tries to pull you apart." You nod. The stone in the center glows faintly now. The path is forming again. You can see the direction, northeast through a thicket that wasn't there a moment ago. The Fox Council begins to fade into the forest's edges, dissolving into the moss and bark like smoke in reverse. The hollow oak's pulse slows. You are alone again. Except you're not, because the leaf in your mouth glows brighter now, warm as breath. Because the wind carries your name. Because something in the forest remembers you. And more importantly, something in you remembers the forest. You step forward, not toward safety, but toward remembering. You don't remember when your paws started moving, but they do, steady and sure, guided by a rhythm older than your thoughts. The leaf in your mouth has gone cool now, its glow faded, but the direction it gave you still hums beneath your skin. The mapless road isn't marked. No signposts. No stones. It's not even a road, really. Just moments strung together, half forgotten, half remembered. 1 second, you're weaving between trees. The next, you're padding along the top of a sunken wall overtaken by ivy. Long abandoned by whatever civilization dared to shape this place before the forest reclaimed it. Your surroundings blur and reshape. The trees stretch wider here, space like columns in a cathedral no hands ever built. Light drips through the canopy in long, soft beams. It should be peaceful. It isn't. Something is wrong. You feel it before you smell it. Stillness. The kind of stillness that isn't rest, but pause. Like a song holding its breath before the wrong note. You creep forward, fur bristling. And there it is. The sky, above the trees, is cracked. Not shattered. Not broken. Cracked. A thin fracture running down the horizon like someone scored it with a knife and forgot to seal it up. You blink. It's gone. You blink again. It's back. And something is watching from the seam. You don't see it, only feel it. That weight, that pressure behind your eyes. Whatever it is, it's not stepping through. Yet. But you know it's waiting for the moment you forget what you are. The path narrows into a ravine, stone walls slick with moss. Water trickles nearby, though you can't find the source. You descend cautiously, claws clicking softly on old rock. Down here, your breath fogs. The temperature drops. You're entering the lowlands of memory. It's in the air. You smell things that don't belong to this body. Coffee, city asphalt after rain, books long overdue, hints of your life before this. And then, your den. Not the fox den. Your den. Your apartment. You blink, and for a second, you're standing on wooden floors in socks, a mug in your hand, music playing somewhere far away. You blink again, and you're a fox, staring at a patch of forest that just pretended to be your living room. This place doesn't just blur memory, it tests it. Historians still argue whether consciousness is stored in the brain or scattered throughout the body. Some fringe theories suggest memory is atmospheric, that it lingers in places, soaking into the air, waiting to be remembered again. That seems a little less silly now. You press on, shaking off the mirage. Ahead, the forest breaks suddenly into open space. A shallow basin carved out of stone, filled not with water, but with reflections. They shift and ripple, showing faces, places, moments. Some are yours, most aren't. You approach slowly. This must be the river that isn't. It doesn't flow. It remembers. You step to the edge, and your reflection stares back. Except it's not you. Not entirely. Your foxy, yes, but eyes different. Sadder. Sharper. Wiser? No. Not wiser. Tired. This version of you stares without blinking, and then it speaks. I'm what you become if you stay lost. Charming, you sit. And what if I don't? Then you'll have to remember what you gave up. Gave up? To come here. A pause. Was it choice? You ask. The reflection tilts its head. Historians still argue. You look down again, and your reflection is gone, replaced with another fox. Then another. Walkers, maybe. Each flickers into view for a breath, then vanishes. Bram's voice echoes faintly in your memory. You're not the first. You step back. The basin quiets. The trees rustle in warning behind you. Something is coming. You smell it before you hear it. Rot. Cold iron. Burning hair. The presence you felt in the clearing. It's near. You don't wait. You turn and run. You don't run away. You run through. Through the ravine. Through a fog that's suddenly there. Thick and heavy. Shapes flicker at the edges. Deer with hollow eyes. Birds with human voices. Doorways that vanish before you reach them. You run harder. And then, up ahead, a glimmer. A lantern, swinging softly, held by a rabbit. Not the hare from the council. This one is taller, leaner, and oddly elegant, wearing a tattered coat and a monocle. He bows as you skid to a halt. You must be the walker, he says. I was told to expect you. Who told you? The hollow, he replies simply. It remembers. Of course it does. He gestures to the trees behind him. You're almost through, but the next place you go, it won't be kind. I'm used to that. He smiles gently. No one ever is. He offers the lantern. This won't light your way, but it will remind you that you have one. You take it carefully, loop the handle around your jaw. It's heavier than it looks, but warm. You glance behind. The fog pulses. Something moves in it, slow and patient, waiting. You nod to the rabbit, then turn forward again, and step into the next part of the Memphis road. Not braver, not wiser, but remembered. And sometimes that's enough. The mapless road shifts beneath your paws again. No longer mossy, no longer stone. This stretch is made of pages. Literal, actual pages. Yellowed parchment bound together by roots and time, forming a path that rustles softly underfoot. Words crawl across them like ink, remembering where it came from. You look closer. They're all stories. Not printed, lived. A child who became a raven to escape a war. A bear who once guarded a king's secrets until the day the crown fell. A fox, curled in frost, who fell in love with a star. And then, you see one about yourself, except you don't remember it. Yet. As you walk, the lantern you carry flickers, not from wind, there is none, but from proximity to something unseen. The road begins to curve gently uphill, and the trees thin out into a strange twilight glade. Everything here is tinted silver. Leaves, grass, even the bark. It's not moonlight, it's memory light. Reflections of what once was, bouncing from every surface like echoes pretending to be stars. And at the top of the hill, a door, just standing there. No frame, no hinges, just a door. It pulses faintly. Your lantern flares once, then steadies. You approach. This isn't just any door. You know that deep in your bones. This is a threshold, a place that separates what you think you are from what you've forgotten being. You sniff. No scent. You press your paw to the wood. It's warm. Then you push, and the world folds. Not breaks, not shatters, just folds, like paper creased into a new shape. You are somewhere else. A small room, walls lined with paintings. All of you, but each one different. One version of you stands in a city, wearing clothes, human. Another sits on a mountaintop, still a fox with a crown of leaves and a necklace made of cloud. Another floats in water, eyes closed, fur turning into stars. You stare. Which one is me? You whisper. A voice answers. All of them. You turn. It's you. Standing in the doorway you just came through, but upright. Human again, wearing your old clothes, holding a coffee cup with a chip in the rim. You blink. The human you smiles. You're the memory. I'm the dreamer. What does that mean? It means I forgot what mattered, they say. So you were made to remember it for me. You step forward. Am I real? They pause. I think we both are, in different directions. You both fall silent. Then they set the coffee cup down. There's something you need to see. They walk to the back wall, which until now looked blank. Then it shifts, opens. Beyond it is a vast plain, flat, empty. But stretching out of it, far in the distance, is a tree, the hollow oak, except taller, darker, dead. Its limbs curl like claws against the pale sky. You feel it immediately. The thing with yellow eyes is there, waiting, feeding, twisting memory into fear. The human you looks at you. I stopped remembering, they say. And it grew stronger. So what do I do? They kneel down, touching your head gently. Go into the dark, but take the light with you. They hand you something small, a seed. It glows softly in your paw. What is this? The last truth I never wanted to face. Which is, they hesitate. That I mattered. You stare, but they're gone. The room crumbles around you, soft and silent. The door, backward now, opens again. You step through, back into the forest. But it's darker now, colder. The road no longer waits. It tests. Each step forward, something tries to pull you back. A voice that says you're a mistake. A whisper that says no one remembers. A shadow that says you were never more than fur and story. But the lantern glows. The seed warms. You walk anyway, because foxes are tricksters. And tricksters know one thing most of all. The world only wins if you forget how to laugh at it. And so you grin, teeth bared, tail high. You run toward the darkness, because sometimes walking through it is how you steal your light back. You run, and the forest bends. Not physically, but emotionally. As if your movement rewrites the rules, as if sprinting through fear convinces the world you're too stubborn to be haunted. The trees blur, branches claw the air, but never touch you. Roots rise, then bow beneath your paws. The very fabric of this place respects you now, or maybe it just doesn't want to get in your way. The mapless road unspools like a riddle told backward, and ahead of you, the dead oak waits. You crest a ridge and see it fully now, towering, scorched, and still smoldering at the tips. It pierces the skyline like a broken spine. Around it, the forest lies still, colorless, ashy. The birds do not sing here. Even the wind seems to hold its breath. And at the base of that tree, a shape, tall, shifting, eyes like two suns devoured. It watches. It sees you. And you stop running. Not from fear, from choice. Because you remember what the council said. This thing feeds on forgetfulness, on untold stories, on doubt. And you're a walker. You were made of story. You step forward, slow and deliberate. The lantern sways from your jaw, casting wide shadows. The seed glows between your teeth like something living. The thing watches. It speaks, but not in words, not even in sound. It speaks in feeling, a surge of regret, a wave of guilt, an ocean of self-loathing, crashing over your thoughts like they're just pebbles on a shore. You stagger, but don't fall, because something roots you in place, a memory, warmth. The first time you climbed a tree, the second time you failed an exam, and your mom laughed and ordered pizza. That quiet night when you read a book you forgot to return and dreamed of foxes dancing with stars. The things that don't matter to history books, but matter to you. Historians still argue whether memory defines identity, or if identity defines memory. But here, in this moment, you know the answer is both, and neither, and also, it doesn't matter, because you remember. And the thing, it recoils. You speak now, voice shaking but clear. You don't belong in me. It shudders. You are not truth. It snarls. You are the shadow of silence, and I remember my name. The tree groans behind it, as if responding. Bark cracks. Roots tremble. The thing lunges. And this time, you don't run. You plant the seed right into the ground. The world pauses, then erupts. Light bursts from the soil, spiraling upward into the oak's hollow chest. The tree lurches, cracks widening. From its blackened bark, green begins to bloom. Faint, delicate, but real. The thing screams, but not with a mouth. It loses shape, becomes smoke, then regret, then nothing at all. The wind returns. Birdsong follows. You collapse, exhausted, triumphant, alive. When you wake, it's not clear how much time has passed. But the hollow oak is green again, and beneath it, a circle of animals waits. The council, returned, and smiling. The turtle steps forward. You did what we could not. You blink. What was that thing? The hare answers. The weight of untold stories. The foxes nod, and you told yours. You sit quietly, lantern still at your side. The seed now a sapling behind you. The fox you once met, your elder, speaks gently. You are still a walker, but now you walk with purpose. The path behind you is gone, but the path ahead, bright, unknown, alive. You rise, pause steady. You're ready, not because you're unafraid, but because you're you. And in this world, that's enough to matter. You walk again, but it's not like before. The mapless road no longer resists you. It welcomes you. The ground feels firmer, the air lighter, and even the silence carries a kind of melody, like a lullaby humming beneath every rustle of leaf. The lantern you carry is different now, too. Its glow doesn't waver. It burns with a steady warmth, like someone's hand in yours during a long walk home. The forest has changed, and so have you. You come across a field of stone statues, not carved by hand, but shaped by time. Animals, frozen mid-motion, some in joy, others in fear. You touch one, a fox with its head bowed. For a moment, you think it twitches, but it's only the wind. Bram's words echo in your mind. Some remember, some are remembered. You pass through the field with respect. Each statue holds a memory that someone gave up. But you've started gathering yours again, stitching your story back together. Past the statues, the world begins to shimmer. Trees stretch impossibly tall, twisting upward into pale clouds. The bark is smooth, almost metallic. Beneath your paws, the soil glows faintly. You realize where you are. The threshold of the dreaming deep. Walkers only reach this place when their story starts writing forward again. A scholarly curiosity. In some indigenous mythologies, particularly among Siberian tribes, spirit walkers would travel to the upper canopy, a sky realm of memory and prophecy, by becoming animals in dreams. Historians still argue whether these tales were symbolic of astral projection or something more literal. You understand now. You were never just dreaming. You were becoming. The trees opened to reveal a pool, not wide, but bottomless, a perfect circle of still water. It reflects not your fox form, but all your forms at once. Human, animal, walker, dreamer, story. You stare, and someone stares back. Not a monster, not a memory. You, whole. She speaks, not aloud, but into your bones. You must choose now. A chill brushes your fur. Choose what? You whisper. To return or remain. You look down. The water flickers with two scenes. One, your human life, apartment, cat, mug, window cracked open, wind nudging the blinds. It's safe, it's simple, it's known. The other, the forest, the road, walkers who've lost their way, those who might never remember unless someone helps them. You sit, tail curled tight. This isn't easy. You miss warmth, laughter, that song on the radio that always made you tear up a little, but you also know, if you go back now, you'll always wonder, always ache. You speak again, softly. I want to stay, but not forever. A ripple. I want to help others find their way. The water glows. Your reflection nods and vanishes. Behind you, a figure steps from the trees. It's Bram. He smiles. I knew you'd find it. You always show up at the right time. You murmur. He shrugs. Retired, not irresponsible. You both laugh, then silence. He nods toward the pool. Step in. You do. The water is warm, and it doesn't wet you. It accepts you. You sink, slowly, and as you do, everything around you fades into a soft hum. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are becoming the story, one breath at a time. The descent into the pool feels like falling through velvet sky. No splash, no rush, just drift. You don't lose consciousness, you gain something else. Perspective, maybe, or distance. You're not dissolving, you're expanding. Around you, light ripples through memory. Fleeting images of you as a child laughing in a park, of rainy nights reading under a blanket, of people you haven't thought about in years, flutter past like leaves caught in a current. Then something clicks. These aren't just your memories. They're shared. You're gliding through a collective dreaming, the forest's own archive, a consciousness stitched together by every creature who ever passed through this place with a story to tell. You slow, your paws touching something solid. A floor? Yes. Stone? Wet, moss-covered stone. You're in a chamber now, cave-like, hollow and echoing, the kind of silence that listens. The walls are inscribed, not with letters, but with scenes. Foxes dancing, rabbits building altars, badgers lighting lanterns. A great stag with galaxies in his antlers. And, above it all, in the center of the ceiling, a tree whose roots reach downward instead of up. The inverted hollow, the source. You step toward the altar at the room's center. Upon it rests a single object, a mask, fox-shaped, made of wood, bark, and threads of silver. It hums when you draw close, like it's been waiting just for you. You understand, without words, what this is. To stay in this world, to help others find their way through their own forgetting, you need to choose your shape. Fully, not halfway, not visitor, but guide. A walker no more. A warden now. The mask calls you. A curious tidbit. In pre-modern Japanese folklore, kitsune masks weren't just costumes. They were believed to awaken dormant spirits. Historians still debate whether this was mere ritual or whether the mask helped transform the wearer's perception of self so completely that reality shifted with it. You know what it means for you. This isn't pretend. This is power. You pick up the mask with both paws. It's light, lighter than memory. You press it to your face. there is no resistance, no pain, just a click, like a key sliding into the right door. Suddenly, your form flickers. Fox, yes, but now robed in ancient patterns, body traced with glowing script. Your tail now flows like ink in water. Your eyes, lantern bright. You're not just a fox anymore. You're a story given shape. You are guardian of the mapless road. A soft rustle draws your attention. Bram again. How do you feel? He asks. You blink. Real. Sharp. Awake? He smiles. Then it worked. He walks with you to the edge of the chamber. A doorway waits now, rounded, carved with moons and keys. Beyond it, new paths stretch out. Some sunlit, others veiled in fog. One looks like a storm. Another looks like laughter. You realize each one leads to a different walker. Someone else who's forgotten. Someone else who needs what you now carry. You pause. Will I ever return to who I was? Bram considers. No, he says gently, but you'll return to who you were meant to become. You look back once, then step forward. The world bends for you now, not because you demand it, but because you remember it into shape. And ahead, somewhere down the twisting, mapless road, a lost soul stirs in sleep, about to dream of a fox with a lantern in their eyes. You walk the road anew, not as a seeker, but as a signal. The forest feels different now, not just alive, but attentive. Trees lean subtly when you pass. Streams hush as you draw near. Even the wind carries your scent with reverence. You're a whisper made visible, a myth with teeth. Your first steps lead you to a grove ringed with stones, cracked and laced with vines. In its center, a young creature sits, curled tightly, eyes squeezed shut, ears flattened, trembling. A squirrel, small, frightened. She doesn't see you yet. You pause, letting your presence soften. You set the lantern down. It floats slightly above the moss, casting warm arcs of gold. Then you speak. Hey. The squirrel flinches but doesn't run. You crouch beside her, gently curling your tail around you both like a blanket. You're not stuck, you say, voice low. You're just paused. She opens one eye. I was a dream, she says. Then I wasn't. You still are. You smile. Just a different chapter. Slowly she uncurls. The earth responds. Moss growing thicker. Stones glowing faintly. She touches your paw with hers, hesitant but real. You've helped her remember. And as she scampers off into the underbrush, the first leaf of her new story flutters into the air, golden and soft. You carry on. The next walker is a deer trapped in a mirror loop, reliving a single moment of shame again and again. You help him break it by singing a lullaby made of wind and water. The next, a bear who speaks only in silence. You share yours. And so it goes. Each one, a wound closed not by force, but by recognition. The forest changes as you do. The hollow oak appears in places it shouldn't, on mountain tops, in valleys, beside lakes. Each time smaller, more personal. A marker, a memory point. You begin to wonder if you're leaving them, or they're following you. One twilight, you sit beneath a cedar tree, sipping morning dew from a curled leaf. The sky above is indigo, pierced with unfamiliar stars. A shadow falls across you. You look up. A human figure stands there. Wide eyes, bare feet. T-shirt wrinkled, holding a coffee cup. You blink. So do they. "Oh," they say, voice trembling. "I had the weirdest dream." You grin. "Want to hear a story?" They nod, and you begin. Not from the middle, from the beginning. "Hey guys, tonight we..." You pause. Your voice softens. "Let me tell you what happened when I became a fox." As you speak, the dream world listens, because every story needs a storyteller, and every storyteller was once someone who forgot, until they remembered. Your voice floats into the sky, weaving itself into the canopy, the moss, the water, like pollen from a truth flower finally in bloom. The human listens, transfixed, holding their coffee like it's the only anchor to their reality. You describe the hollow oak, the mapless road, the council beneath the tree. You even mention the seed, the mask, the cracked horizon. But you speak gently, wrapping every memory in metaphor. It's not about impressing them. It's about inviting them. The human exhales slowly, brows furrowed like they're trying to decide whether to believe or simply feel. "I've dreamed of foxes before," they whisper. You smile. Most people do. They just forget. They sit down beside you, cross-legged, close, but not touching. The forest doesn't object. The sky above shifts into something softer, lavender twilight with stars that breathe. After a pause, they ask, "Why me?" You nudge the lantern closer to them. It glows brighter in their presence. That's why. They stare at it for a long moment. Then, "Do I go back now? Or stay?" You tilt your head. That's not a rule. It's a choice. And for a long time, they say nothing. Just breathe. Let the world hold them. You glance down at the forest floor and notice something strange, a sprout pushing up through the soil. Not a flower, not a tree, but a memory made solid. It looks like a small, folded paper crane. You blink. It unfolds slowly and drifts upward, wings flapping once, then vanishes into a sparkle. The human saw it too. "I wrote that once," they say, stunned. "When I was 7. You grin. The forest remembers what you thought everyone forgot. Historians still argue whether collective memory is myth, science, or just good old-fashioned poetry. But here, you live it. It's real. After a while, the human rises. Their edges are clearer now, their shadow more grounded. "I think I'm ready to go back," they say. You nod. "Leave the lantern," you add. They do, placing it beside you like a thank you. Then, with one last glance, they walk toward a tree and vanish. You sit there, paw on the lantern, alone again. But not really. The lantern is fuller now, their story added to its glow. Each walker you guide strengthens the light. Each choice made. Each truth faced. adds another layer to the flame. You are no longer simply remembering, you're carrying. The role of the warden becomes clearer each night, to tend the flickering flames of lost stories. To walk not because you're searching, but because someone else can't yet. And sometimes the road bends in strange directions. Tonight, it leads you to a river made of laughter. Literal giggling bubbles rise from its surface, popping in melodies. On the other side, a child, curled in a nest of blankets that smell like sleep. You step into the river, letting the sound wrap around you, warming even the cold places inside you. As you emerge, you know this story will be gentler than most. A lost dream from a child who forgot they were brave. You reach their side, whisper a promise into their ear. You're still brave, you just need reminding. They sigh, and a tiny light lifts from their chest, floating skyward like firefly stardust. You catch it, add it to your lantern, and smile. Because this is your calling now. You are a fox with lantern eyes, and stories are no longer fading, they are found. You've crossed oceans made of echoes, climbed hills grown from lullabies, and now, tonight, the mapless road leads you through a desert that hums. It's not hot, not dry, just endless. The sand here glitters faintly like powdered moonlight. Every step you take leaves a trace that shimmers, then fades. Memory in reverse. Overhead, stars drift lazily, not pinned to the sky, but wandering just like you. This is the realm of almost forgotten things, where dreams that were this close to being remembered go to nap. The lantern at your side dims, not from exhaustion, but respect. You're entering sacred territory now, soft places where stories dissolve if spoken too loudly. You tread lightly. Then, in the distance, you see it. A figure, tall, cloaked, unmoving. At first, it seems human. But as you get closer, its shape keeps shifting. Man, woman, child, elder, beast, shadow, mirror. It doesn't settle, because it hasn't been claimed yet. You stop a few feet away. The figure tilts its head. Are you the one who walks between? I am, you reply. I dreamed of myself, it says, but I forgot the ending. You nod, slowly. Then let's remember it together. You sit. The figure sits too. You place the lantern between you, and for a long time, neither of you speaks. Not with words, with memories. You share an image of warm sunlight through an open window, the scent of something baking, a song hummed by someone who loved without needing a reason. The figure shares a memory of running barefoot through a field. No goal, no destination, just joy for its own sake. You offer a memory of loss. They offer one of healing. A rhythm forms, a dance. Piece by piece, the figure becomes more solid, more present. Their shape steadies, still strange, still shifting, but rooted now. They smile, you smile back, and then, without drama, they become a fox, small, sleepy-eyed, with a speckled tail and one crooked ear. They look at you, blinking. I think I used to be afraid of this. Are you now? They tilt their head. No, just curious. They stretch, yawn, and begin to trot away, tail bouncing like punctuation. Another dream remembered. Another lantern warmed. You rise again. Walk on. The forest begins to shift around you, paths curling like script, the trees reshaping into hallways made of shelves, leaves turning into loose pages that flutter down like gentle snow. You're in the archive now. A secret part of the mapless road. Every walker who's ever remembered has left something here. A poem, a laugh, a whisper to their future selves. You pause at one. It reads, "Dear me, don't believe the silence. You are still singing, even if you forget the tune. Love, you." You tuck it behind your ear. You like this part of the road. And though you know you can't stay long, new dreams are always being forgotten, you take a few quiet moments here. To breathe, to listen, to remember yourself. Because being the guide doesn't mean you're done becoming. The lantern flickers gently beside you. Still hungry, still ready, still light. You leave the archive with ink on your paws and pages fluttering behind you like applause. The mapless road welcomes you gently now. Each step like a note in a lullaby. Each turn a comma in a sentence only you can finish. You've stopped asking where it leads, because you are where it leads. Tonight, the world folds into twilight, and the trees lean close again. But they don't feel ominous. They feel like old friends whispering secrets you already know. A clearing opens ahead, quiet and waiting. There's someone there. Not a walker, not yet. Just a soul caught between what they are and what they fear they'll never be. They look up as you enter. A teen, maybe. Or someone dreaming they still are. Eyes tired from holding too much. Hands clenched into silent storms. They don't speak. You sit beside them anyway. The lantern flickers once and glows a soft teal. Gentle, like the moment before a question is asked. You offer them a glance, not pressure. And finally, they speak. "I don't think anyone sees me." You don't rush to answer. Just let the forest hum around the ache. Eventually, you say, "I do." Their eyes glass over. "I used to dream all the time," they whisper, "but then I got tired of waking up." You nudge the lantern closer. The glow deepens. "Then don't wake up," you say. "Just walk a little further in." They hesitate. But something about your voice, your eyes, your foxtail truth makes them believe. They reach toward the lantern. And it doesn't burn. It welcomes. The light wraps around them like fog. And for the first time in years, they breathe deeply. You see their form flicker. Not vanish. Shift. Their shadow elongates, ears sharpening, posture low and graceful. They're becoming a fox. And in that moment, you don't just guide, you witness. The transformation isn't loud. It's not heroic. It's earned. When they look at you again, their eyes carry the same lantern flame yours once did. You nod. They nod back. And without a word, they trot into the woods, beginning their own walk. Another story lit. Another fire passed on. You're alone again. But not really. Never again. Because for every walker you've helped, every dream you've fanned into memory, the forest remembers you. And as you look up at the hollow oak, now tall with green again, its branches stitched with starlight, you realize you're not walking in circles. You're walking in spirals, growing outward, deepening inward. The mapless road continues, and so do you. The forest quiets now. Even the lantern dims, not from exhaustion, but from peace. You walk a little slower, each paw step padding into the hush. The mapless road, so vast and wild and tangled, has become a lullaby beneath your paws. Familiar, gentle, kind. There's no rush anymore, no danger, no hurry to remember or forget. Only the soft truth that you are still becoming. You pass beneath an arch of trees shaped like reaching arms. The leaves here fall in slow spirals, not down, but around you, like they're dancing for you, not drifting. Somewhere in the distance, a breeze carries a laugh you once knew. A lullaby someone sang to you when you were very small. Or maybe it's one you'll hum to someone else tomorrow. You lie down in a patch of moss where the stars peek through. The earth rises to meet you, warm and forgiving. You curl your tail around yourself, close your eyes, and let the story rest. The forest is still. The lantern flickers once, then settles into a gentle glow. And if anyone were to pass by now, fox, dreamer, or forgotten soul, they would know, in their quietest heart, a story was told here, and someone listened. Now breathe slowly. Let your shoulders soften. Let your heart beat slow. And if dreams come, let them come as foxes with stories in their eyes. The mapless road will be here when you wake, always.